You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 124.2, results and highlights from Thursday's games and previews and predictions of Friday's games in Blackford, Delaware, Grant, Howard, Madison, Tipton, and northern Hamilton counties.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report, we think you've made a good choice. Today is December 20th, 2024. It is a Friday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengel, and I love Central Indiana basketball. Coming to you today from Madison-Grant High School, the final day before Christmas break. Producer Susie is in the control room at headquarters in Jeffersonville. I will be joining her there Saturday after 12 days without my baby. Can't wait. We released 5 segments today. Of course, the boys and girls basketball scoreboards every day, plus a preview of the big boys CIC showdown between Frankton and Oak Hill with long-form interviews with both head coaches. We also had a couple of IU Notre Dame features, so you should check that out. Earlier in the week, Eric and Ryan Robinson broke down every single college football game in this weekend's playoffs and made their predictions for the tournament. That reminds me, go like, subscribe, or follow on your favorite podcasting app so you don't miss a single segment. We're now streaming on YouTube. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report and you can find all of our episodes and segments. We will continue to have podcasts all during Christmas and New Year's weeks. We'll continue to talk high school basketball, of course. We'll have a lot on the college football playoffs, Pacers, Colts, IU basketball, etc. We'll also have special segments with some special guests. Lapel star Lanaya Wills is on fire. She continued her hot streak Thursday with 32 points and a career-best 26 rebounds and a 48-39 win over Monroe Central. The Bulldogs have won 5 in a row after a slow start to the season. In her last 4 games, Wills is averaging 35 points, including a school record 48 against Madison-Grant on December 11th, while shooting 68% from the field. She's also averaging 17 rebounds per game in those 4 contests. The Bulldogs look for 6 straight when they start the new year against 6-5 Winchester on Thursday, January 2nd. Monroe Central was led by 15 points from Brinley Patterson, and Abe Irvin had 10 points and 11 rebounds in the loss. The Bears came in with a 4-game winning streak and are now 8-3. They go to Blackford on Monday for their final game of 2024. Anderson Prep beat Madison-Grant 62-52 on Thursday in Anderson behind a 37-point performance from Jets senior Olivia Peoples, who went over 1,000 career points in the win. Here's the Action Sports Network's Grant Shouse to tell you all about it. Grant, you had Anderson Prep's 62-52 win over Madison-Grant, historic night for the Jets. We just talked to Madison-Grant coach Jace Martin. He liked the way his team played, so it seems like a really good night.
Yeah, and, the fact that he liked how they played and they still came up on the short end of things, I think says a lot. But Madison-Grant played the best I've seen them play all year, and they still lost by 10. Scored 18 points in the third quarter, scored 13 in the second quarter. Maddie Holloway scored 21 points for them to lead them. Grace Wood also had another good game, banked in a corner 3, which is, something you don't see every day. She had 10 points for them. Ava Ricks was our sub of the game off the bench. She had 4 points, hit some baskets. Madison-Grant shot the ball very well. They came together as a team. I think Madison-Grant's starting to kind of have that upward trend a little bit that a lot of teams have midway through the season. They start turning things around, Even though they lost tonight, I think, I don't think coaches or players are disappointed. They played well offensively. The problem was on the defensive end. It hovered between 8 and 10 the entire second half, and Madison-Grant got it down, I think, to as close as 7, but just couldn't close the gap. And that's because of Olivia Peoples for APA. Very good basketball player, 37 points tonight, scored her 1,000th point. And APA, I don't think was really expecting her to score that 1,000th point. She, because she needed 35 coming into tonight, and she scored 37. So hats off to APA. They're well coached. They have, Peoples, who was just so dominant inside, and Madison-Grant had no answer. Nothing they did and try to work things up, worked for them. And they struggled from a defensive standpoint. They played great offensively. If they carry that offense into their next game on Saturday against Mississippi, then they have a really good shot at winning.
For people who haven't seen Jasmine Rainey play, describe her.
She's hard over height. And she plays so hard. And she's the floor general. And she's not very tall, but she's quick. And she's all over the floor. We started calling Landry Hardman from Oak Hill the Road Runner, but she's kind of also a variation of that, and where she's all over the floor and she just takes off. And I guarantee you she leads the team in steals because she's so short, probably 5'2" or 5'3". Nobody sees her coming on the backside of the defense. They're able to come in and steal a ball and force a turnover. And the way she gets into the lane and creates shots for herself is just so good. And I mean, like I said, the way I would describe her is probably hard over height. They put her in situations that she's comfortable being in. And it helps when you have someone like Maddie Holloway as well, who can shoot the basketball. She had 6 3-pointers on Tuesday against Eastern. She hit 5 tonight. So she's gone the last 2 games hitting 11 threes. It's 33 points. I don't know about you guys, but that's pretty good.
About Maddie is that early in the year she wasn't scoring a lot, and suddenly it's like her early in the season had 2 points, 8 points, 1, then 0, 2, and now all of a sudden she's starting to really come alive here for this team, and it's made a huge difference.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, like I think that a lot of teams this time of year that have kind of struggled, they hit the midpoint of the year and things kind of start to flip. And it may help that teams are playing, they may not be playing as good of opponents, but they also start playing better basketball. And as a coach, Jace will tell you, Jace Martin and all these other coaches that, you guys talk to, they'll tell you everybody wants to be starting to play their basketball about midway through the year and be a whole different team coming into the year. So I think that, Holloway, she's gotten herself going. The fact that she can get herself going is going to be the difference maker in a lot of games. And I think that if she scores, even if it's just 13 or 14 points every game, then I think Madison-Grant's on track to win a lot more here in the back half of the season.
And Ava Ricks, of course, she moved here from Tennessee. I think she's considers herself a softball player first, but her athleticism has really helped this team as well.
Yeah, and bringing her off the bench kind of provides some depth a little bit. Madison-Grant plays a lot of girls. I mean, I don't think a lot of coaches realize that, opposing coaches realize how many girls that they play every game. They bring in, it seems like 3 or 4 girls off the bench, and they all contribute in different ways. And Rick's contributed tonight, only 4 points, but those are 4 points Madison-Grant didn't have. What killed them were free throws. It was 60-49 at one point, and if they had made with just about a minute to go, if they had made every free throw, I remember counting it up, and I turned to my color guy, Flava Cirque, and I told him, I said, Flava, this is a 60-59 game instead of 60-49 if Madison-Grant could hit all their free throws. So that really killed them tonight, was at the foul line. It's a whole different game if they could have hit everything, because they were hitting shots offensively. They were getting the looks they wanted. They were hitting shots, probably shot the best they have all year. And they only held themselves to like 17 or 18 turnovers, which Jace Martin and Madison-Grant, they'll take that every night. I think a lot of coaches around the state would take 16, 17, 18 turnovers in a game. So that's kind of where Madison Grant shot themselves in the foot.
Grant, so how do you see the rest of Madison Grant's season going? Do you think they're going to become? I mean, are they showing enough consistency now that?
I didn't see the game Tuesday against Eastern, so I don't know really kind of what they carried over from that game into tonight. But, like I said, if they hit the shots that they hit tonight and they do, like you said, start hitting them more consistently, then 100%, yeah, they're going to, they're going to make, they're going to improve. And they play Mississinawa Saturday. If they, like I said, shoot the ball the way they did tonight, they have a really good chance at beating them.
They play them
And
their
then
next 2 games.
Yeah, I just took the words right out of my mouth. They're going to play Mississinawa on Saturday, and then in 2 weeks they're going to get the whole week of Christmas off, and then they're going to play them in the Grant Four. And that's a game they have a chance to win. The clear-cut favorite in the Grant Four is Oak Hill, but the goal is to get in there and win 2 games. But if you can only get one, whether it's in your opening round game, you get beat in the championship, or if you can win the consolation game or win both of them, then, you got to feel good in that tournament. Oak Hill definitely stands alone, but I think Mississinawa, Madison, Grant, and Eastbrook could be, I think they can make a lot of opportunities out of the Grant Four, especially Madison Grant. So the thing is for Madison Grant is if they lose on Saturday to Mississinawa, they get 2 weeks to think about that.
That's right.
And then be able to try and rewrite the wrong if they lose. And I'm not so sure they will lose. So, we'll see. I mean, that'll be an interesting game. And I hate saying that because I hate to, give it, if someone's listening for Mississinawa, I hate to give them, kind of the motivational factor. But I mean, that is the fact. The fact of the matter is that Madison Grant is going to be in it to win it. And if they play the way they do tonight, they're going to have a good shot.
Not only that, but they did have a 5-game losing streak early in the season. If you look at the schedule, it's understandable. It's understandable. 4 of the games are against really good teams. The other one is Cowan. But the other thing was that Jasmine Rainey was out for much of that.
But I think tonight the one of the things, Madison Grant, they look back at the Cowan game and they say to themselves, that's a game we should have won. Every team has those games they look back at the end of the year and they say, we should have won that game. And that's definitely what Madison Grant's going to do with that Cowan game and probably a couple other games that they think they should have won. The biggest difference maker tonight for APA was no question Olivia Peoples, because Olivia Peoples had 37 points. You take her away, and if she doesn't score at all, Madison Grant wins by 30, almost on a running clock.
And she was the difference for sure, and that's it's
no question.
It's good to have a go-to player like that, and
and she was listed on the roster as 6'2", and she's every bit of it. She's so she just has an athletic build, and Madison Grant would throw on the full court press and press up against while she would inbound the ball. And she was able to just baseball pass it up the floor every time effortlessly. She's really one of the better athletes I think we've seen all year.
Despite the loss, Madison Grant head coach Jace Martin was happy with his team's performance and continued improvement. All right, Coach, 62-52 loss tonight to Anderson Prep. Sounds like a pretty good performance by your team, though, right?
Yeah, we played really, really well. APA is a good team. I don't know if you know this, but Olivia Peoples scored her 1,000th point tonight.
Oh, wow.
She scored 37 against us. Is just a fantastic player and was the difference in the game. We tried so many different things against her defensively. I mean, we fronted her, we played behind her, we double teamed her, we pressed them. We tried everything, and she still had 22 rebounds and 37 points. So she was the difference in the game for them, but we were really, really impressed with how our girls played. And it was perhaps our best basketball performance of the year. Unfortunately, it just came against an APA team that is going to be a really strong contender for their sectional, and if not further, later down the road.
I remember seeing APA play Tri Central last year when they got their first sectional win, and Peoples impressed me then. Actually, they had two players that really impressed me, but I thought for her a key was I thought sometimes she got to playing too fast,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had a really strong post player that I thought was really good for them on the boards. And in fact, I thought sometimes they didn't get her the ball enough inside. But it sounds like APA is kind of now has adjusted and to being able to maybe take care of the basketball a little bit better and slow down and play under control more often.
Well, I think the biggest thing, we didn't remember Peoples being as good of a passer as she was tonight. I would guess, I don't have the numbers in front of me, I would guess she was probably close to a triple-double just from her. She would catch the ball in the post and we would send a double team and she would pass it to someone else. Just her vision and awareness and touch was just so impressive. I can only think of one turnover she had. I mean, it was amazing. And she was so patient. I mean, just never hurried, never let us bother her. Really, really impressive player.
Before we talk about your team, Coach, do you think that's a team that can win a sectional?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't studied their sectional very closely, and with the realignment this year, I'm not even sure who's still in it. I know last year was a 4-team sectional, and it would have been it was very winnable for them in my mind last year. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about the 1A sectional there this year, but I mean, Coach Fathour, who I like a lot, he said, I mean, we're focused on that, and we think we can do that. So I believe them. They're the real deal.
Yeah, well, they probably are. I know Liberty Christian has a program that they haven't had for a little bit, and they've got a couple young players. But so I was happy for APA last year to find their success because watching them celebrate after beating Tri Central was, I know Tri Central people don't be offended. I'm not saying that it was. It was just nice to see kids that have
joy.
never the joy and the celebration from kids and coaches and adult fans that had never got to experience that. And that's always fun. I mean, if you can't root for young people, even if you're from a community, especially a community that has had that kind of success, and Tri Central has, and even recently, then I don't think you really truly get the spirit of really enjoying athletes. I just think it's I enjoy those moments.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think people realize how few times in life you get to experience pure joy, and that's one of the things I love about sports is that it brings that pure joy sometimes. All right, Coach, tell me about your team and who played well, what you did well.
Madeline Holloway is a senior for us. She scored 23 points, which is her career high. Made
nice.
5 3-pointers.
Nice.
She actually just had her career. Yeah. She actually just had her career high on Tuesday when she scored 19 points, and then bested that tonight. She played really well. We hope that she has found a new level of confidence. Grace Wood had 10 points and 8 rebounds and did, again, I would just talked about Olivia Peoples doing a great job. Grace Wood is a freshman who is our tallest player. She's not a post player by any means, but just happens to be our tallest player and did everything she could on Olivia. So we were really proud of Grace. And then Jasmine Rainey, I believe, had 7 points tonight and played really good point guard for us. And Jasmine seemed a step ahead of APA defensively all night. And she forced a lot of turnovers and had a lot of steals. So it was really fun to watch those girls have some success.
They don't come much scrappier than that, do they?
No, yep, that's a pretty good word for her.
Yeah, she just energy and effort at all times.
Yep.
Now, Jace, who do you guys have next?
We play Mississinawa on Saturday.
So that'll be an interesting test for you. Am I not right? Kind of the key with Mississinawa is making sure that Crick does not have an explosive game.
Yeah, I suppose that's probably true. There's a couple different ways we have a meeting tomorrow before practice that we'll talk about. There's a couple different ways we could take it. One of my assistants has been doing the scouting for that, and he has some opinions. So we'll figure that out. We just feel really ready to play them after the performance tonight. I mean, we just played so well, and I feel like we have some confidence. And if we decide that, face guard JC Crick, or if we decide to try to throw different things at her, we could do that. But also, we just feel like we could probably play her straight up. Our defense was good enough tonight, on everybody not named Olivia Peoples, that we have some decisions to make, and we'll figure it out tomorrow for sure.
Anderson Prep has won 7 of its last 9 games since Peoples returned to the lineup. They go to Frankton in the first round of the Madison County Tournament on Monday, January 6th. Northwestern lost its 4th game in a row, 48-33 to Rochester in a Three Rivers Conference game. The Tigers fell behind 30-16 at halftime, then were outscored 4-2 in the third quarter. Northwestern will participate in a one-day, 2-game tournament at Logansport and will face 3-9 Wheeler in the first round and either 3-10 Argos or the host Berries, who are 1-11 in the evening. Rochester is now 10-3 and has won 4 of its last 5. They are 4-0 in the Three Rivers, tied atop the conference with Whitco and Wabash. Once again, the Central Indiana Sports Report Player of the Night is Lapel's Lanaya Wills, who had 32 points and hauled in 26 rebounds and a 48-39 win over Monroe Central. Now you know everything we know about Central Indiana girls basketball. Please stay tuned for our Friday predictions with Michelle Garmon and myself.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
All right, Michelle, before we get to Friday's games, previews, and predictions, let's go over our picks on Thursday. First, I picked Anderson Prep by 17. They won by 10, so you got that one. You said under. You got that one. I said that Lapel would beat Monroe Central by 19. That was 9, so I get that one. Oh, you said over. I need to say that first. And then I said Rochester over Northwestern by 9. You said over. It was over. So you are ahead 2-1 through 3 games, and now we are here for Friday. And we start, as we always do, in the CIC, the conference that was nice enough to name their conference after this podcast. And we start in Elwood, where 1-10 Blackford goes to 8-3 Elwood. Blackford is 0-2 in the conference, has lost 9 games in a row. Of course, they were the defending co-champ. They are the defending co-champions. Elwood has won its last 2 games, both on the road. Greg says Elwood by 22.
Oh, you made that really, you made that tough.
Oh, I'm good.
All right. I think the Lady Panthers, it's hard court homecoming for Elwood tomorrow. I think they're feeling really good about themselves after winning at Tipton and then getting the big win over Madison-Grant. Games at home. I'm going to say Elwood wants to go into the Christmas break on a really high note. You said 22, and I'm going to go ahead and go over. I think it's going to be maybe 25. Like I said, I think Coach Licklider has the girls really believing in themselves. They've experienced 8 wins. They've experienced success. They 6 wins to open the season, 3 then lose 3, and then to come back and not just win, but to win big over teams they probably should have won big over is really good. So, and I think Elwood I think they're going to be feeling pretty confident. She's had a whole week to get the girls ready. And again, they have a big layoff because they don't play again until the Madison County tournament after Friday night's game with Blackford. So,
did you see 9 wins going into Christmas for Elwood?
No, I did not. So that's fantastic. 9 wins puts them on really close to the 500 season and above. And I really think they can, barring barring a big injury to like
They're going to.
Breland,
They're going to get double-digit wins this
Norris
year.
or Kendris Lee, and I say they can't really afford to lose either one because if you lose Norris, then you lose your ball handler.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about players being injured. Let's just assume
Right.
everyone's going to be healthy.
And if everyone's healthy, then I think they're looking at least 13 wins.
Game number 2 in the CIC out of 2. Eastbrook at Alexandria. Both of the first 2 games are at 6 o'clock. They are girls, boys doubleheaders. Eastbrook is 3-7, also defending conference champion. A lot of seniors on those teams, weren't there? And they are 1-6 on the road. Alexandria is 12-0, ranked second in the state, and have a little revenge on their mind from last year. Greg's pick says Alexandria by 50.
Oh wow, by 50. Oh, that's a tough one too. Woo. If they can, I think they'll do it.
But that's the question.
That's the question now. But I also know this is, I think they're in the same sectional now, right? Eastbrook went down to sectional 40. So I don't know. Sometimes if you want, they're going to want to win big, but I don't know that you want to win so big. Get me wrong. I don't think Eastbrook's going to be able to beat Ellick in, a few months, but you don't want to win so big that maybe some of your kids take them for granted later.
I think they'll probably call off the Dogs a little early.
Yeah, I'm going to say under. I think it's going to be closer to. I do think it'll be a running clock. I think it'll be closer to 40 points, and part of that is because I do think, Alexandria is going to go play in that Richmond tournament and then the Madison County tournament, and sometimes if you don't late in games, I think Mickey will sub out because I don't think he's going to want to take a chance on a free, one of those freak injuries or something when it can get really sloppy. So I will say under.
7-4 Clinton Central. They are 0-2 in the Hoosier Heartland Conference, but were regional champions last year. At 6-5 Tri Central, the Trojans are 2-1 in the conference. They won their last 2 games over Eastern and Frankfort. Coach Korn not real happy with those performances, but they won. Greg says Clinton Central by 9 points.
Oh, the games at Tri Central. Clinton Central's got the Davison girl who's pretty good. I'll say Clinton's. I'm going to go over. I think Clinton Central will be closer to 10 to 12. I don't think it's going to be much over 9, but I think it can be double. It can be double digits. And here
Wouldn't be shocked if Tri Central won either, would you?
Probably not.
They're getting healthier. They're starting to play better as a team.
They are.
Someday they might just start.
I just don't
stride.
know that they have. I don't know that they have a guard that can match up with the Davison girl, and I say that because she's a guard, but she's a physical presence who can do a lot of things. So it'll be interesting. The key for Tri Central really will be, handling the ball, and are they able to knock down some shots from outside? And I know they have gotten healthier. Again, I think this is a key game because am I not right? Aren't they in the same sectional now? So I think they may be in the same basketball sectional now. So makes it interesting. Slide over because I do think Clinton Central's conference losses have come to Carroll is one of them.
Yes.
And who was the other one?
Sheridan.
So the 2 best teams, right. And I would say Clinton Central is the 3rd best team in that conference.
Marion goes to Kokomo. We hope to have a report from Jay Stevens of the Kokomo Post. We've been talking to him and hoping to get a report from him. Marion is 5-6, 1-1 in the North Central Conference. They ended a 3-game losing streak with an 8-point win over New Haven on Tuesday. Kokomo is 8-3, 1-1 in the conference. They started 6-0 and then lost a few games. They won 58-37 at Hamilton Heights on Tuesday. Greg's prediction is Kokomo by 23.
Under. I believe Kokomo. I believe Kokomo is going to win, but I think it will be a little bit closer than that because I do think that Marion's their young guards and their athleticism. I think
the key is that they're young and they've never played a varsity season before, and the results early in the year were a lot more impressive than they've been more recently. I'm not saying they won't get their legs back or whatever, but I think.
But I just think that's a big enough of a rivalry that a year ago I would have easily gone, and I probably would have gone over. But I do think Marion.
I would have said it a lot more than 23.
Yeah, but I do think, I think Marion's wanting to make some strides.
Bright future for them for sure.
Right, and you said it at 23, and I'm thinking 15 to 20. So.
All right. Also in the North Central Conference, Muncie Central goes to Anderson. Muncie Central 6-4, 1-1 in the North Central Conference. They've won 3 straight games. They only won 2 games all of last year. So very similar to Marion and Elwood, and we've had a few of those. Anderson is 0-11, 0-3 in the conference. First time, I assume, ever that they've been 0-11, at least this century. I can't imagine they were ever 0-11 before 2000. So Greg's pick is Muncie Central by 8.
Oh, gosh.
By the way, Anderson is not one of those pathetic 0-11 teams. They are definitely a capable team. They could definitely win this game and be their first win.
Yeah. What'd you say the margin again?
8.
And it's being played at
Anderson.
You know what? I'll go under because I think Anderson is,
It's not the mismatch the records would make it appear to be.
Exactly.
Benton Central is at Western. Benton Central is 6-4. They beat Northwestern and Twin Lakes last week. Of course, they are the 4-time state champions. Not this year, but still a great program. Western is 2-8. They've lost 6 in a row, but some of those were really tough losses against pretty good teams, like a 4-point loss at Oak Hill. It was in there. Greg's pick, though, is Benton Central by 15.
It's gonna. I think it'll be less because I do think Western. I think Western's one of those teams that when they can shoot well, and I think they've had a few games here where they haven't shot as well from the perimeter, and they're due to get hot, And so I'll say less. Although I will say this: Benton Central started out the year. And I was sitting there looking at their scores and thinking, well, this is not the Benton Central I'm used to seeing. But at the same time, they have picked things up here. They've picked things up here recently. But I'll still say under. I think Western will make it closer because they're at home, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. All right. The last game is Delphi at Taylor. Delphi is 4-7 overall, 1-2 in the Hoosier Heartland. They've lost 3 in a row. Taylor is 2-10. 0-3 in the conference, has lost 5 in a row. Greg says Delphi by 20.
Oh, that you might have hit it right. You might have hit it right on the
I'm good.
On the head.
Oh, I'm good. I'm not making this easy for you.
No, but I'll go Delphi. I'll go over. I think Tiffany Longworth-Borf has done a nice job with Taylor, considering but.
Where they were.
Considering where they were. Yes. But, it's a long, it takes a lot to get them back. And
I will say this, Jelena Harris is a very nice player.
She is a very nice player. And I think if you can limit her, which, Tipton limited her. I mean, she had, but they limited her. And so.
She gets a lot of attention.
Yes. And so if you can do that and other people aren't, making up for it, but I will go over. I think Delphi is maybe not great, but they're not bad.